So I heard you guys have been looking for a way to improve your chest. So we're going to walk you through a little bit of a push day today that's going to be very chest focused. Now, a lot of this starts with how we start the session. What you're going to see is for someone who is really struggling to connect with their chest, how I would set this up in order to get the most out of their entire chest session. Towards the end, we'll talk about what it should eventually progress to. So we're going to start here with the activation. This is not meant to be heavy. It's just simply meant to get chest fibers firing. So we're just going to stand like perpendicular from a cable, and we're going to be doing like a decline cable fly single arm. You should really be feeling like a pec contraction in the shortened position, trying to drive that bicep into the side of your rib cage. We're going to do 3 short reps, just like this. And then right after, we're going to hold that contraction, and we're going to bring it up and across. And as you bring it up and across, you should feel it contract in that clavicular fibers. And then you're going to do short reps there. And then bring it back down and release it. You'll do this for both sides. It's really just to create that neural connection before we head into the first movement. And can really prepare you for the session a bit better. Now, if you have injuries, we would have to talk about different prep work before we even started there. But assuming you don't, that's where we're going to start before we head into the first movement. So this is a movement I really like to start people out with that have a lot of trouble feeling their chest. A couple reasons. One, the cable's going to allow for free motion, for them to find that position where they can really gain that chest contraction. Second, if you look at the cable, it's going to taper as we pull across slightly. So it's allowing them to get that pec short, which for most people, that's where they're weak, and really get a good chest contraction. We can get a lot out of this pattern for people who don't get a lot out of their chest movements and really set up the pressing that's to come. So you can call this a seated cable crossover, a seated fly press. I cue a fly press because I want that bent arm in the bottom and then pressing out as we drive that bicep across the rib cage. We're going to be doing 3 sets here. I like to keep these at around 10 to 15 reps. So we'll jump into a work set here soon, and we'll show you all what that's about. Yep, bicep to chest. There you go. Bicep to chest. There you go. So I'm like letting my arms tuck a bit so that I can press out from there. I think you get a little bit more out of it if you tuck your elbows.
Right here?
Yeah, because like the goal of this exercise is not to load like a fully lengthened arm and pec. The goal is to allow you to press from a position of tension and jam that bicep in.
There?
Yeah, that's it.
There?
There, and then press your thumbs together and then bicep to chest. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Go. There you go. That's it. How's that feel?
It's harder.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
You'll get more out of it. So the last piece of this is like setup, and we really want to see that cable going straight through the shoulder. So if you were to look at it from the side, it's going to come right through the shoulder joint. If you're getting it above the shoulder joint, it's going to want to pull you in that external rotation. It's not a great place to be, especially if you're dealing with an injured pec. What I will say is doing this as a first movement, I would argue is probably not ideal. I do really like it for people who have some niggles and we really got to get a higher rep blood flow work in, or you struggle with feeling your chest like we're talking about today. So it's a great piece. I like a slight incline so that you can use that back pad to brace and keep you from too overexpanded. So it's like 80, 75 degrees. Because we don't want to be way up here where you turn into a decline. We still want it to be across that middle part of the chest. So you'll see that a little bit from the front view when you get those front views. But we're going to do another set here real quick. 3 sets total. Move on to the first press of the day. So that'll be a wrap for the first movement. We're going to head over to a flat press that you might not have at your gym. I'm going to list off a couple replacements you can do for it. It's more the concept that I like. So we'll cover that flat press here in a second. You'll see with people that typically struggle with chest development, if you find the flat press they can connect with the most, working everything around that often works really well. So you can really start to build that program design out. So we're gonna move over to a flat press I really like here in the gym, talk about concepts, and then move on. All right, 2 big reasons I like this piece as the next press, especially if you're having trouble feeling your chest. 1, it converges as you press. So as you go out into the press, that bicep is coming across the chest and really shortening your pec. Second reason I really like this is it loads a little bit more of a lengthened pec. So if you were to watch the cam and the way that it goes up and down, you'll see that the loading's the heaviest in the bottom and it drops off as you press out. So essentially what it's doing is it's loading that pec in a position that it's most advantageous for hypertrophy. Now, there's a couple pieces you can do this in. This gym Lego is a great one. Hamstrings has a flat press that you lay back on that converges as well and loads in that lengthened position. Even a flat dumbbell would work just fine here as well. So a lot of options for that goal. You just have to find the incline setting that works for you. So if you're doing like a flat dumbbell, some people flat's gonna be fine. Some people, to hit those sternal fibers, you're gonna have to bring it up like 15 degrees. Just depends on how big your rib cage is. And typically the bigger the rib cage, the more incline you have to come up for your flat pressing. So that's why I really like this piece in. Again, I'll be hitting 3 sets here. 2 around that 8 to 12. I do try to do a third up near 15 before we kind of move into what's gonna be our incline press for the day. All right, so it's been a while since I've done this piece. So I'm gonna err on the side of high, as in I'll probably get more than 12, but that is okay. Still stimulating hypertrophy. It'd just be something that I would adjust as I got into the program deeper. So gonna get its full send. One of the big things that, again, press that back into the pad so that you're in a stable pressing environment. Try not to expand. Breathe in on the way down, catch it right before, and breathe out on the way out. I don't know how many I got there. I was just trying to focus on the pec contraction. I think I probably got around 10 or 11.
You want me to do 10 or 11?
Yeah, as many you can get. Press. Go. 8. Look good though. Do you have right shoulder problems or a history with your right shoulder? It comes up.
Does it?
Yeah.
No, but that's probably because it's all swing too, right?
Maybe.
How high up?
I mean, noticeably compared to your left.
Do you think maybe because it's too much weight?
Potentially, yeah.
I might drop back down.
I think the seat might be a little low for you too. We wrapped up the flat press. 3 really good work sets. Headed over to the incline prime. Couple reasons why I like this piece. For finding replacements at your gym, the 2 things I look for is, 1, this does slightly converge. It's not very aggressive, but it does slightly converge. And then secondarily, you do have some adjustability on the incline. Now, the only downfall to this piece is the lowest incline it can go is 45 degrees. So for you guys with like shorter humerus and smaller rib cages, this is gonna be almost a shoulder press for you. So you're probably gonna wanna set it up in like a Smith or even potentially like a low incline dumbbell. But other pieces you could really use here are gonna be like an incline hamstring piece, setting up in a Smith machine even though it doesn't converge. Using an incline dumbbell as well is a great piece to use here so that you're getting the incline fibers of your pecs. Now, when I write this in a program, the decision that's made is how much chest relative to delts you want, because you're gonna get both in an incline, in any incline chest press. So for me, in this session, I'm okay with the slightly higher incline of this incline prime, even though it's some front delt, because I don't have a shoulder press in this session. So it's kind of serving as like clavicular fiber stimulus and some front delt stimulus. So you just gotta decide what your program needs are. What I like by doing that is you probably don't need a shoulder press for people who need a lot of chest volume, which the whole goal of this video is get the most out of your chest. So if both of your push day are chest oriented, one of your inclines can be 45 or 60, get enough for your front delts, still get some pec crossover, and then just do all of your other work closer to that flat angle. So really, really good setup. We're gonna do 2 sets here to finish it out. That's kind of like baseline volume, and then you could work this up because that's only 8 sets across the session. You could get to where you're doing 10 to 12 in this one session, just depending on how you split it up through the week. Good reps. Yep, easy. Come on. Yeah, there you go. I also use a dead stop here, mainly to protect my left pec, but I just like the control it takes to press there too. Really kind of keeps that in my upper pecs where it does tend to cross over into some delt for me if I'm on this incline very quickly. So I do really like the dead stop within the setup. It's one of the reasons I choose the Incline Prime, because you can set it up to dead stop fairly well. So you can just pause for other pieces that don't have that bottom stopper high enough for you to dead stop, and just use that as your pause in the bottom of the rep. Yep, good control. Go. Yeah, easy. Good set.
Thank you.
So chest work's wrapped up. If you need more chest volume in the session, you can certainly add it to those first 3 movements. I would suggest probably adding it in that incline press first, potentially looking at some rest pauses or drop sets in either one of those presses, if you need even more than that, towards the end of your training block. Now we're just kind of hitting the volume landmarks for the rest of our body parts that we need. So this end of the session could look a little different depending on what you need. What I think most people need is lateral delts. You can't have too much of it. Unless chest is a very high priority body part, I really like lateral delts first. But for this session of like, you can't grow your chest, you're gonna do all your chest work first, and then your delts are gonna come second. So we're gonna do a prime lateral raise. Keeps off of loading the elbow joint because you got the pads on the elbows. Really like that you can just lock in and go. Really important to set it up well, which you'll see when I do the sets. We're gonna do 4 sets, 12 to 15. I do put the cam on setting 5 so that it tapers as I go up a little bit. This is a really good piece to use. Now, you could do a cable lateral raise here as well if you don't have the prime lateral. We're gonna get plugged into 4 sets of 12 to 15 and roll from there. So you'll notice on these setups, I'm not sitting on the chest pad and I've got my arm kind of out in front of me. Really important for this prime lateral to make sure that you're keeping it as close to your scapular plane as possible. Now, it's not perfect. It's not going to get exactly for a lot of people, but you can keep it as close to that plane as you can in order to get as much lateral delt out of it as possible and keep it out of your trap. So really important to get the setup right. You'll notice when Johnny does it, he's actually using his hand up to kind of bring that arm even further forward. He just needs a more exaggerated version of it. Transitioning from delts here, you could add in some rear delt right after that lateral raise if you wanted, depending on if you like rear delt work with push or if you like rear delt with your back work. We're moving on. We do rear delt with back. So what I'm going to do is a single arm tricep push down. So this would be transitioning into the tricep volume you need. If you need 2 movements to cover that tricep volume, what I would suggest is a push down like this single arm push down, and then something into that lengthened position. Again, like a single arm cable, line dumbbell skull crusher as like your 2 movements to hit 3 sets of each and 6 sets across that session. For this session, we're only gonna be doing 1. We have more arm work later in the week. So Not really needing a whole lot here, just enough to keep us moving. We'll do 3 sets, all in that like 12 to 20 range. Alignment's the big reason we do single arm, which you'll see when we do this right here. So that's a wrap for the chest focus push day. If you're looking to get more out of your chest because you struggle to connect with it, or you're struggling with injuries or whatever it may be, give this setup a try. It's a really good one. I use it a lot within client setups who are really struggling for chest development, just to get more out of them, teach them that connection with their chest so that we get more out of the big quality movements. Now, if you're someone who has pretty decent connection with all of your chest patterns, you might not need to do that cable fly press. You might not need to do that cable fly press straight out of the gate. You can kind of go into that pressing very early on, get the most out of those, and then go into the fly variation that you like towards the end of the session. So all of this is goal dependent. Make sure you guys go through it in detail. We go through all of the movements, kind of how you could adjust the session for yourself on the gym floor. If you have questions, comment below. I'll be down there answering any questions you might have. Like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn those notifications on because we got a lot of content coming your way. Style is going to be very, very educational still. Just potentially doing a little bit more with athletes as we can do it. So if you have any questions, let us know. And until next time, take no off switch in the pursuit of results.